We already had a few people ask us why you would need to pick up a whole tractor trailer. But, right, Mike? It's just because we can here. That's why we're doing it. We're doing it to show you the power of that truck, the ability to take a long load of 75,000 pounds from one side, bring it around the truck and around to the other. There's not many units out there that can do that. It takes a good operator to do it. So we got little Lance here. He's going to do it. So in this particular unit, this is an 80-tonner. If you guys were at our last show, we had lifted up a 980 loader with it the last time. Also did a mid-air roll on this. Angelo is the main operator of this unit here. Guy in the orange hat. Stick your hand up and say hi to the fans. Yep. This truck has 7/8 main cable. What are those 20-ton blocks that you're using? Yeah. So he's using 20-ton snatch blocks on this. You could question, I know a little bit about the rigging, but since he's got the bigger blocks on, we're within our rating here a little bit. Close to it, but we're within. The spreader bars, we're using the NRC spreader bars. They're within their rating. They're on the second notch out. They go out to 12'6". They collapse down to 7'6". They'll fit in your tunnel box. They're got a really high rating. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head, but you know where they're rated at right now, Ange? Off the top of your head or no? No, I always have to refer back to the sticker. Yeah. So the way we did this one, we got a spreader bar picking up the front of the tanker, and then we ran the Crosby eliminator from the shackle down to the front axle of the truck to help balance it out. We also shimmed the fifth wheel with some 4x6s to kind of try to keep it from pivoting. They're half-inch chains rigged in here. It's a half-inch eliminator bile. So the one leg is hooked to the drive just outside the tank. The other leg's hooked to the front axle here. The rear is hooked up with another grade 100. Yep. Okay, half-inch chain just around the suspension in the rear, pinched together into a master link. We're just going to pick this up. Lance here is going to bring it around the truck. We're going to show you, just how far you can push a unit like this, hanging 75,000 pounds off of it. Again, it's a longer load, so it takes a little bit more to gain that corner and swing it around. Having the slider here is going to show you the ability to leave your boom. These only has 2 stages out, a little bit of the third. If that thing did not slide to the back, you wouldn't be able to push out nearly as far, or you'd have to push your boom out a lot further to gain that corner. And again, you'd be losing capacity. You'd be outside your range if you had to boom out 3 stages. So go ahead, Lance, I want you to fire it up. So the spreader bars are rated for 30,000 at full extension at 45 degrees, 60,000 fully collapsed at 45 degrees. Obviously, the lower the veer angle, the rating will go down. Higher the veer angle, the rating will go up. One thing too, when lifting like something that's heavier, say like this or whatever it may be, a lot of times you can get the front. So say you're working on the front and the back and there's 2 different pivot points that are lifting. You can lift the back up like Lance has it here and then work on getting the front up. But leave just a little bit of drag on them tires or whatever it may be, a pallet, a tank. That'll help if that thing wants to skate to you, away from you. If the load's not centered on the line, it'll slow down the load from moving. So if you just go ahead and winch up and boom up real quick, that line comes up, that load shifts, it could be catastrophic. We like to leave a little bit on the ground so we know it's centered over our cables, and then we'll go ahead and complete the lift. Lance here, he operated just about all these trucks for us yesterday, setting everything up. The slider was already set back, so you see now he's starting to gain the corner. Using the outrigger as a little bit of a bounce pad there. So we're going to kick the speed down on the remote. On the NRC remote here, you have an option. Well, one is 2-speed, the other is 50% and 100%. The 50 and 100% just control the flow of the hydraulic, so it's just purely hydraulic speed. It's not the power of the hydraulic. So you can maintain the power, but you can slow the flow down in order to slow down your rotation or whatever function you're trying to run. Wind picked up a little bit here, so we're gonna throw a tagline on it just to be sure. I'll also take this good time to point out setting up the truck. See how all 4 of his outrigger pads are the only thing that are touching the ground? That's very, very important when setting it up. Actually on Bobby's truck over there, when we were lifting off the side, his back tire, the outrigger gave way a little bit, and that back tire was digging into the ground. So what that does, it ultimately shortens up your stance. So now instead of your outrigger being out here, your pivot point or your strong point, it now shortens it back up to the tire. That becomes your pivot point, and it gives you a whole lot less strength compared to having this box set up right here like Angelo has. You want to make sure that those back tires are off the ground, and enough off the ground so when the truck loads up and twists, that the tires aren't pivoting or digging into the ground. Lines are always a good idea. They keep that sway out of it. And again, Lance can control this here too with the speed. The slower you go, even if it gets ahead of you a little bit, by maybe pushing the turret back that way, you can shift that load and get it to slow down to you a little bit. It can all be controlled with the truck. Like I said though, tag lines never hurt. We ran through this yesterday. You'll see that front left outrigger doesn't come off in this scenario. We could push the truck a little further to do it, but we're just trying to maintain safety for this one, so we're trying to leave all the outriggers on the ground. So as you see, he was getting a little closer to the tail of the truck as he was coming around the corner. He slid back a little bit, pushed that load further away. Now he's able to rotate and gain the corner. The truck's also sliding with no problem. I mean, it does have 75,000. The turret's pushed to the back, so a lot of the weight's on the back side of those slider rails, and it's still easily moving forward to backward with the load on it. Important to keep that slider greased though, makes the world of difference. So once he gained the corner, he was able to run the slider back forward a little bit, put some more weight back on the front axle. Not that we needed it in this particular scenario, but if the, if the load was a little bit heavier, we might have had to, hug that corner a little closer, or once it was at the back, we had to put a little more weight back on the front of the truck. Also, the boom angle has a lot to do with the amount of weight that's on the truck as well. You'll see he's operating at a pretty high boom angle here. It's keeping that weight back and keeping it level on the turret. When he's at that low boom angle, especially when you're slid back, it wants to dig that turret in and almost pitch that truck up. Actually, we've seen it with Bobby's 4050 when we were doing that. It binds that slider rail up, so having that higher boom angle a lot of times will prevent that.
Trying to get out? Trying to get out? Yeah. Okay, done.
You can see how little Lance here is feathering the control around. It's all proportional control, it's all proportional remote. So the more you give it, the more it's going to react. The less you give it, you can feather it. It doesn't need to be flicked on, flicked off. A lot of operators, coming from maybe a different setup or a different brand, where it's got that on, it's either on or off. That's not the case here. You can feather every control, whether it's the axle lift or the left winch, right winch, boom up, boom down, and it makes for a lot smoother operation. Less shock load, on the truck, less shock load on the unit. Enables you to look like a smooth operator, even if maybe you're not. Right now. Does anybody have any questions on this one as we're bringing it back around? Anybody have any questions? Anybody have any questions other than the people that own the truck? Yeah? So Lance is just going to swing this around and put this back on the other side. We're going to come back to this later. We're going to re-rig it and set up for a mid-air roll. What's that? And the next scenario that we move to is going to be the bus with the Falcos and the Acura truck. You can, just sit here and enjoy him putting this back. And once we're done, we'll put it back. We'll all move down over there so that they can get this re-rigged.
You can get your old trucks on Cruzy Avenue. They moved it till tomorrow.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, rain coming in.
Oh, good. Nice.
To point out that Crosby eliminator a little bit more. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Crosby, but running that bridle there enables you to shorten that chain. So any kind of uneven load you may have that you're trying to gain with one cable, or maybe you're outside your your line load, so you need to run everything for one block, or what have you. A lot of times those bridles will enable you to keep your balance. Your load balanced anyway, so they're a good tool to have when you're into a little bit bigger lift or a smaller lift for that matter. Make them all the way down to 560. Yeah, go ahead. So the remote said that Lance had 76 on it. Yesterday it said 75. I would assume it's right around that range, give or take one way or another. The remote also, it's something I didn't point out before. It'll give you your pump pressure. It'll give you your extension, your elevation angle, as well as how much you're lifting. That particular one has the digital output. They make a color output that has a little bit more information on it. But it's nice to be able to stand back. We used to have it just on the screen inside the truck, but it's nice to be able to stand back and get that weight right on your remote away from the load while watching the truck and the casualty perform. Let's give Lance a big round of applause. Good job, Lance.